Did they actually use white phosphorus? Yes, it's been confirmed by the Human Rights Commission. Why are your surprise streams never happy? Because good news can wait. I just started playing Cyberpunk 2077, and I'm so early on I can't even save yet, but having it run while streaming is making my computer mad at me. I just muted it, but I feel like I have to close it. I'm just gonna close it, whatever. It seems like it might be the beginning of the end, a little bit. So, as of just a little bit ago, Israel has ordered through the United Nations an evacuation of 1.1 million people in the northern part of the Gaza Strip to the southern part of the Gaza Strip. 24 hours to evacuate 1.1 million people into an area as small as the southern half of the Gaza Strip is not possible. It is not possible to do this. The UN itself has said this. UN spokesman Stephanie Dujarric called the order impossible without, quote, devastating humanitarian consequences. The rapid move of over 1 million people into the... So I brought up a size comparison so we can understand the size we're talking about here. We're talking about moving the equivalent of the population of the state of Delaware into the lower half of this red marker placed over a portion of New York City. So that is how small the Gaza Strip is. Now cut that in half, and this bottom chunk right here is where 1.1 million people are being told to evacuate to in 24 hours with no water and no energy. They don't even have electricity over there. Just getting the information to the people in the northern part of the Gaza Strip is going to be virtually impossible. Israel's ambassador immediately complained, saying that the United Nations response to Israel's genocidal exodus order was disgraceful. Because that is what an ambassador to Israel or from Israel has to do, be a monster. Apparently, Hamas is telling their people not to relocate. That might actually be the better move. Mass relocation of this many people into this small of a space under these conditions will be a mass death event in and of itself. Again, imagine moving 1.1 million people into... This is how small the space is. You can see the city blocks from up here in New York. That's like the area we're dealing with here. The width is like 4 miles from here to here. It's not possible. 24 hours to move that many people. It'll be a human stampede. It'll be a crowd crush. You know, people don't have food. They don't have water. Not possible. Never in human history has that been done. Under the best of conditions, let alone the conditions currently present in the Gaza Strip. Are the Israelis just getting all these people in Gaza tight to bomb more effectively? No. What they're doing is they're constructing the flimsiest possible pretense of being concerned with civilian casualties. This is almost certainly a precursor to a ground invasion of the northern portion of Gaza. What they're essentially doing is going, you know, sure, our ground invasion may have killed thousands and thousands of people, but we did tell them to evacuate 24 hours beforehand under impossible circumstances, so actually it's the Palestinians' fault for not moving fast enough. It is the flimsiest possible justification. This basically confirms that a ground invasion is going to happen as well. There's no reason to order the evacuation of a certain portion of the Gaza Strip otherwise. It could happen almost immediately after the 24 hours. It could happen within a few days. It'll probably happen within a few days. So yeah, this is essentially the genocide. This is it happening. It is happening now. This is it. These are the conditions under which it's going to take place. There's no other, like, this is the end state, effectively. Whether what we're going to see will be like the eradication of Gaza entirely, or if it'll just be like a pogrom in its northern half, it's impossible to say now. But this is, yeah, this is it. Unless something changes or something, there's some change of course, some diversion. This is what is going to happen. At what point does the UN tell them to chill? The UN itself is not an entity. The UN is just a platform through which countries vote. And the United States has used its position on the Security Council to consistently prevent consequences to Israel for Israel's behavior. At what point does the US tell Israel to chill? Great question. Never? I don't know if that's like... Biden has just been full-throatedly like, we stand with Israel. I have no idea what it would take. Yeah, Biden has essentially been cheering on the response from the Israeli people. Are you saying IDF soldiers will just start shooting once the ground invasion starts, anyone and everyone? Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. IDF soldiers are barbarians. Yeah, they're hyped up on vengeful war propaganda. They're bloodthirsty as yeah. They kill civilians all the time. A ton of civilians are going to die, and it's all going to be like, dude, we told you to leave the area. We told all Palestinians to leave the area, so only Hamas would remain, of course. Like, yeah, there's no reason to have any charity whatsoever to the IDF, like, under any circumstances. We know what they're like. They've proven it time and time and time again. I don't think they're going to kill literally everyone they find, but they're going to kill a lot of people. Is this a good time to shit on Biden? This is an excellent time to shit on Biden. Of course, Trump almost certainly would have also backed Israel in this case, but it doesn't matter. Like, yeah, absolutely. Biden right now is essentially acting in complicity with what is going to be a genocide. There's no reason to not shit on him for this. I genuinely can't wrap my head around this. This shit is being defended. Why exactly? Please help. We've talked about the circumstances surrounding genocide many times prior to this point. You should be familiar with why stuff like this happens. Think the general populace left behind is going to be armed? Fucking no. You think the average Palestinian has guns? You think they have that shit? No. Israel tightly controls everything that goes into the not the West Bank, well, the West Bank as well, but also the Gaza Strip. Yeah, no. Yeah, they don't even have water. Of course, given the current state of things and what Israel is about to do, it is true that if there were a bunch of guns in the Gaza Strip, that the Palestinians would probably fight for every block. But that's just not how things are. And that's one of the reasons as well why Israel generally resorts to indiscriminate bombing rather than going in directly. Do you think Israel's going to straight up start building settlements inside of Gaza itself again? No, I don't think so. Yes, it's been confirmed they used white phosphorus. Any chance they launch a nuke? No, no. Biden is pushing Egypt to open an evacuation corridor for Americans and Palestinians to escape. Man, I know why things are the way they are, but, like, it sure is wild how cucked the United States acts with Israel. Like, again, I know it's mostly evangelicals and fundamentalists that weaponize them for political partisan points over here in the West, but holy shit. Israel has gotten real fucking uppity, huh? Israel is a fucking military base that the West put in place and promotes because we wanted an ally in the Middle East. And now, like, we're letting them, like, do genocides and we're treating them with, like, gloved hands or whatever. Holy shit, you know? Jesus Christ. I support the highest form of American imperialism, specifically on Israel. Not Palestine, Israel, okay? We need to redouble, triple, reverse loop-de-loop colonize the Middle East, okay? So we can establish once and for all democracy, all right? We tried democracy in the Middle East once before and it didn't work. We're going to try it a second time, all right? We're going to make Israel the 51st state. Holy shit. Unironically, a coup in Israel would be better than supporting Israel. Yeah, no, I mean, we're about to be like complicit actors in one of the worst genocides of our lifetime so far. Like Myanmar levels? Did Myanmar ever, like, kill 2 million people? I don't know. Why did Hamas up this bad? This isn't Hamas. None of this is Hamas. Hamas killing like 1,000 Israelis after Israel has done all of this, and then Israel retaliating with genocide, that's not Hamas. This is just Israel wants to kill Palestinians. They're responsible. It's all them. Hamas has no power here. Isn't this kind of Britain's fault? Everything is Britain's fault. Hey, I know this place. Wait, right? Why does this map look so weird? Yeah, that's SeaTac, right? Yeah, Seattle. There we go. All the way up there. Yeah. Jesus. Yeah, I can see my house from here in this map that's larger than Gaza. Hamas has just pushed the timeline forward and made it more of an overt genocide, right? I mean, even then, not really. It's like Israel has been waiting to pull the trigger on this for a long, long time. Like, no matter what happened, these deaths, everything that's happened, like, all of this is on Israel. Hamas is like a powerless insect crawling around, in a glass jar. You know, like like every imaginable excuse could be deployed, but ultimately the only people with the power to prevent this from happening are in the Israeli government, and they don't want to. It's the equivalent of telling Vaush he and 1 million people have got 24 hours to get to the SeaTac airport by foot. Actually, that's not incorrect, yeah. It would basically be like, imagine taking all of Seattle, this whole chunk right here, giving them no water, no food, no electricity, broken down roads, no cars, just by foot, all of you, 24 hours, get your ass down to SeaTac, right here. That's essentially, yeah, that's it. Everyone up here, every house, every apartment block, every building, even in Seattle, where we have water and food and roads and everything, even with every amenity afforded to us by living in, well, a developed city, it would be impossible. And they're doing it in the Gaza Strip. Yeah, and you can't be notified by TV, radio, or internet. The people in the northern Gaza Strip, you think they're getting like what, alerts on their phone? Why just the north? Because it seems like the IDF is looking to invade the northern part of the Gaza Strip. So they're telling people to move down to the southern part. Of course, it's not possible for them to all move, so the IDF is going to go in there and storm and kill a lot of civilians. Do you think Hamas wouldn't exist without Israel? That's objectively true, yes. Hamas didn't exist before Israel. They would not exist without Israel. There's no reason for a radical militant Islamic group focused primarily on decolonization to exist without colonizers. Is it possible for them to call off the Exodus? Sure, Israel could not be evil. How many times have they done that? How can Israel stop Hamas right now, though? Who cares? What is Hamas doing? What is Hamas genociding 2 million people? Like, what? It's inconsequential. Could you pull out an actual map of the Strip? Sure. I'm getting real tired right now of the condemn Hamas jokes. You guys are running it into the ground real quick. Alejandro Caraballo drew the map. That's the blue line. 1.1 million people over here. 24 hours over here. It's not possible. Like, what should Israel do? Immediately cede an enormous portion of their territory back to the Palestinians, remove the settlers from the West Bank, destroy the fence surrounding the Gaza Strip, and give ungodly amounts of aid to the people in both the West Bank and the Gaza Strip, first by reconnecting power and water, and then giving them not only food, but also the economic materials they need to rebuild. And that's just the start. The campaign of penance Israel must engage in will last for decades and will probably bankrupt their economy. But that's okay. I don't think 1.1 million people could even fit in there. Ah, you're wrong. Have you not seen the cube? Perhaps somebody in Israel's government has seen the cube that can contain all human bodies. Yeah, this is all part of Netanyahu's plan to build a real-life the cube in southern Gaza. Gaza Strip. Does the cube have to be in Lower Manhattan specifically? No. I'm sure it can be built right down here in Kamel, or however that's pronounced. No, Hungamaster, like I've said, the irrationality of fascism, the Exodus command does not make sense at all. Like, it's just desperation and hatred. You know, this is bad enough that there is a possibility that other countries get involved over this. At the very least, like, this has a real chance of provoking Hezbollah. I didn't think that Israel would do this because it's insane, but there's a real chance this provokes Hezbollah, and that would lead to real fighting. If this provoked Egypt or Iran in any capacity, or any of the like various backed militias in Syria, this could turn into an actual fight. But then again, like, the US has a carrier strike group right off the water, so there's not really anything they can do. Yeah, Biden and the United States presence there basically guarantees no other country can get involved, because it's a carrier strike group. So, you know, like, that's that. There's no fighting that. The US is literally being a referee to a genocide. Yeah, basically the role of the United States here is to watch Israel slaughter Palestinians and keep anyone else from stopping them. I don't think any of the other countries that would actually be able to do anything. I don't think Hezbollah or Egypt or Iran would be able to do anything, but they definitely can't now. Israel has nukes, surrounding countries can't do shit. That wouldn't stop Hezbollah. They don't give a shit. Can you explain the root of the conflict? Sure. Israel is evil. There we go. The Iranian foreign minister is in Beirut saying this will escalate. Yeah, no shit. Arriving in Beirut, Iranian foreign minister Hossein Amir Abdullahian says the war may open on other fronts if the bombing of Gaza continues. This isn't just going to be bombing. This is going to be, this is like the Exodus order is already genocidal in and of itself. The following invasion is going to be just as bad, if not worse. Man, I guess, I don't know, guys. How much do you think the jihadist groups in the area are willing to risk both nuclear annihilation and the U.S. carrier strike group in order to stick it to Israel? Genuinely, I'm pretty sure the U.S. carrier strike group presents more of a destructive force than, like, a salvo of nuclear weapons. How many nukes does Israel even have? Between 80 and 400 nuclear warheads. That's a lot. I guess it would depend on how many of them are tactical and how many of them are strategic, but that's still enough to, like, destroy the entire Middle East. So, you know. They're jihadists who are willing to die for Allah. I'm not surprised they're willing to risk nuclear war. If nothing else, like, Hezbollah probably doesn't need to fear being nuked, because that'd be really silly by Israel. Considering they're not even, like, a real country. Do you think the humanitarian corridor is going to open? It doesn't matter. 24 hours to move 1.1 million people. It doesn't matter if the corridor opens into Egypt. Like, they cannot move 1.1 million people out of here in 24 hours. It's just not possible. Israel's not going to use nukes. That's insane. Yeah, I don't think they will either. They wouldn't unless the Iranian military got involved, which it won't. Hezbollah might get involved. I doubt they would use nukes against Hezbollah. There might be attacking from Syria, but probably not the Assadist regime, just like militia groups. Yeah, it's hard to say. Isn't half the Gaza population children? Yep. I could picture Iran using nukes. Iran doesn't have nukes. They might in the future, but they don't right now. Ben-Gvir is giving guns to settlers. Yeah, that tracks. The Israeli Minister of National Security, Itamar Ben-Gvir, this is one of the people complicit in the assassination of the Israeli leader who was less genocidal towards Palestinians, was seen tonight assisting in the distribution of weapons for civilians in the Israeli West Bank so they can defend themselves in their settlements against Hamas as well as other yeah, Hamas in the West Bank. Yeah, Hamas, famous for being in the West Bank, Hamas. This is more of the human shield shit. Like by sort of like mass arming the settler population, you really blur the lines. I think Israel would use chemical weapons rather than nukes. Israel has already used chemical weapons. They used white phosphorus in Gaza just a few days ago. Yeah, I know Hamas is in the West Bank, but like the idea of arming the entire fucking legion of settlers there, like, oh man, you know, yeah, like, yeah. Remind Chad of what white phosphorus does. Sure. Since Israel is already comfortable using this against civilians, sure, let's read up on white phosphorus munitions. Just a second. There's a whole section on them, use by Israeli forces in Gaza. Thanks, Israel. Where's the what do they do to a body section? Oh, here's the whole international law section. Oh, that's from a Gazan youth right there. Gazan youth undergoing hospital treatment for white phosphorus injuries. Basically, the vapors make you die on the inside, and the flames stick to you, and they're 1 billion degrees, and they melt you from the outside. Have you seen these sociopathic Israeli ads? Yes. This feels like one of those things that feels like it should be fake, or like made up or whatever, but I've seen multiple people post videos of it. We know that your child cannot read this. We have an important message to tell you as parents. 40 infants were murdered in Israel by the Hamas terrorists. ISIS. Same group. Look. Just as you would do everything for your child, we will do everything to protect ours. Now hug your baby and stand with us. Truly incredible. Don't Hamas hate ISIS? Yes. Do you think it matters to them? I can confirm the ad is real. I've seen it on my phone here in Belgium. Jesus. That video is on the Israeli Foreign Ministry channel. Is it really? They just have it right there on the Foreign Ministry channel? Hold on. Oh, yeah. Yeah, literally right there. Yeah. It has 900,000 views, 159 likes. They've hidden dislikes, and they've hidden comments. I wonder what people in the comments would be saying if they could be here. Very organic. I have a feeling that the views are authentic, and people really don't like this video. It's from ads. It could also be from the ad distribution, that's true. But they do have a lot of views in other videos as well. Keep in mind, I know that it may not seem this way from observing like Western media and Western media civilian discourse, but around the world, people f***ing hate Israel. They have incurred a broadly negative reputation. So, you know. Remember how Israel defenders posted images of scared children only to take them down when they found out their kids were Palestinian? Yeah, Justin Bieber did that. He posted an image of ruined Gaza, saying like pray for Israel, and then when it was pointed out to him that that was an image of Gaza, he just deleted the image. He didn't like. It's so grim. They're not like, oh wow, I didn't realize things were that bad in Gaza. They just like delete the image, post a new one praying for Israel without that. Like there's no engagement or sort of introspection on what they've done or what the implications of what they've done might be, you know, just Vaush, I'm not saying this with glee, but Hezbollah could very much get involved. They have much better missiles than Hamas. They can and they will reach Tel Aviv. Yeah, Hezbollah is much more, much better armed than Hamas is. Well, if Hezbollah is going to get involved, they're probably going to wait for the ground invasion of Gaza to begin and take advantage of the distraction to attack during that time. U.S. task force won't let Hezbollah do stuff. Not true. U.S. task force will kill them for doing stuff, but they can still do it before we kill them. You know, Israelis are already killing Palestinians with the guns given to them. I know there was that case of, I say case like it's this one-off thing. Just recently, there were some Israelis shot at Palestinians doing a funeral and killed 2 people. That just happened. They're just sort of indiscriminately killing people. Like, it doesn't matter. Do you really think, like, the Israeli police or Israeli court system are going to, like, arrest and like, fully prosecute and investigate everything, like, for killing Palestinians right now? Yeah, 4 Palestinians were shot dead by Israeli settlers on Wednesday. At their funeral, Israeli settlers shot dead 2 mourners, a father and a son. Yeah.
War, ongoing fighting. And it's been reported that Israeli settlers have killed 2 Palestinians in the West Bank. That's according to the Palestinian Health Ministry. And just scrolling through some of this release, witnesses have told Reuters that the father and son were shot when settlers opened fire at the funeral of 4 Palestinians who were killed by armed settlers and Israeli soldiers near the northern city of Nablus on Wednesday. So that report coming, according to the Palestinian Health Ministry, Israeli settlers have killed 2 Palestinians in the West Bank.
Cool.
Welcome back. We have some breaking news relating to the Israel...
Just a non-stop video feed of the skyline. So this is the environment in which 1.1 million people now have 22 hours to evacuate down south. Is it denser than Kowloon? No, nothing's denser than Kowloon. It's extremely dense, but nothing's denser than Kowloon. Tweet relaying statement by IDF spokesman. We understand it'll take a few days. They can't even get their own propaganda together. They're giving a 24-hour warning to cause mass panic and mass death as people flee south as quickly as possible, but they're even acknowledging it's not possible. So you have a 24-hour order to get the fuck out before we kill everyone in this area, but also we know it'll take longer than 24 hours, essentially, is what's being said. Someone made an insane cartoon thing of Hila Klein as a soldier killing people. The entire situation is bringing out the most insane people. Yeah, I'd say so. Dog, what the f? This is a whole animation? This looks fucking anti-Semitic to me, dog. I don't know. Like, everyone in Israel is drafted into the IDF. Like, that's bad, sure, but I don't think... You know that kind of lefty online where they will call anyone a war criminal just for being a soldier? Like, a war criminal is someone who commits a war crime. But some people, like internet lefties, will be like, no, actually, a war criminal is when you're conscripted into a military and that military has done bad things. Like, they'll say every U.S. vet is a war criminal or whatever. Yeah, Hila Klein was like a secretary or something. Keep in mind that only like 1 in every 6 people in the U.S. military actually like goes into combat roles or whatever. For every dude out there with a giant backpack and a rifle, there's like 5 people making coffee and cock back at base or whatever. Like base back at home, you know? Yeah, pretty weird. This is old? Yeah, but it's, you know, it's the same thing. Any chance the UN might get involved in all this? No. So Israel is trying to justify taking over? Is that what they're trying to gain from all this? No, they're trying to get... They're trying to appeal to the hardliners domestically, and they also just want to kill a lot of Palestinians. Sometimes it's just that simple, you know? Like, you ask logically, like, really ask yourself logically, okay? In purely, like, does this benefit the nation? Why the f did the Holocaust happen? Because if you actually think about it, it was really f***ing dumb. Oh, let's wage war on every other f***ing country, but also let's commit a ton of domestic resources and soldiers towards, like, the world's greatest pogrom. And why? Well, Because they're not rational. Like, if you think of it purely logically, and I'm being like lay Reddit, intellectual, big hat, fedora, whatever, but if you think about it logically, the limit of like pragmatic internal oppression during wartime runs up against slave labor. There was slave labor in the camps, but killing over 10 million people? Why? Well, because they were hateful idiots. That's it. Really, that's it. Why do this thing that hurts you? Guys, the Nazis over their own nuclear weapons program because of anti-Semitism. They thought the scientific research that led into the development of the nuclear weapons program, they thought it was Jewish hocus pocus. They're fucking idiots. That's the thing. That's fascism for you. You ask, why would Israel waste its own resources, ruin its reputation domestically and abroad, like make everything worse for everyone just to kill Palestinians? What are they getting from it? The answer is nothing. They're getting dead Palestinians is what they're getting. That's what they want, and that's what they're getting, you know? That's it. It sometimes really is that simple. They'll take the land too, I'm sure. It's a tiny little strip of land. They have other land they can use. It's not the land. There's other ways to get land. That's not the issue. This isn't just a land grab, you know? They're not doing that shit in the West Bank for more land. If they really want land, they can upzone their existing districts. It's not about land. It's about suffering. They want to kill Palestinians. That's it. Is there a solution to this, like stopping Israel from killing Palestinians? Yeah, go join Hezbollah. No. Please stop asking me for solutions. There is no solution. Listen, okay? All of us are scholars of ruin, okay? Our job here is to sit and suffer, okay? Listen, all right? In their bombed out homes where they're about to be invaded and killed by the IDF, all right? The Palestinian babies that are going to die, they're all praying. I hope some internet irony poisoned lefties with complicated thoughts in their own gender identity will remember me and have good opinions on my suffering. That's what they're thinking right now, okay? Now honor what will be their memory and have those, okay? But please stop asking me what we can do, because I've seen it from chat 500,000 times since this started, and the answer remains no idea. I think literally the only person in the world who has the power to stop this right now would maybe be Biden. Biden couldn't act unilaterally without causing a ton of disruptions locally within the Democratic Party, and it would probably be to his political detriment. But if you could put all that aside and have Biden act as the like representative of America, yes, Biden could stop it. We could do anything we want. We're America. If we really want to, we could, but it won't happen. Do you think the average American will at least see how horrible this is? I don't know. Following the attack from Hamas, there's been a spike up in terms of support for Israel. But over time, that's going to change. The overall trend over time in America has at least been for Democrats to be less supportive of Israel. Apparently, popularity for Netanyahu is pretty low right now, too. It is possible that something comes of this, but frankly, I doubt it. Can Biden impose extreme sanctions through presidential orders or something? First of all, America on its own does not have enough of a trade relation with Israel to impose extreme sanctions unilaterally. Israel does not get like the majority of its economic shit from America. Like they have a pretty robust trade network. Sanctions have to come from a lot of countries. But like, no. Also, that's not a presidential order. Are Israel and Hamas beyond reason at this point? Stop bringing up Hamas. What does Hamas have to do? Hamas is an ant in a glass jar. What is this? There is nothing, nothing. There's nothing Hamas can do at this point to change anything. Hamas is full of dumb jihadist lunatics, yes, absolutely. But who are the real lunatics? Hamas and their radicalization, their hatred, their anti-Semitism is, if nothing else, the product of great deprivation of suffering. What the f*** made Israel this way? Because Israel is 1,000 times more genocidal than Hamas is. They're capable of carrying it out. And Israel does not exist as a product of deprivation. Israel is a modern fucking first world country with full control over its own shit. I don't want to see people talking about Hamas. We are past the Hamas section of this discussion. Hamas was the fly that set Israel off. Hamas was the spark next to the powder keg. Okay, I don't care about Hamas. There is only one agent left, and it is Israel. The left should stop defending Hamas. Then don't talk about it. Don't talk about it around me. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. I don't see it. I don't hear it. I don't care. Hamas doesn't exist anymore. They're about to not exist anymore. What do you think the IDF's going to do? Let them live? 8-minute long statement from the IDF, 40 minutes old. That's relevant.
And I have some updates for you to know regarding the operations and the war against Hamas. The situation during the night has been relatively quiet relative to the last 6 days. Still rocket fire towards southern Israel. There are still terrorists that are attacking Israeli communities, or at least trying. Most of them have been repelled, killed, or taken into custody. But what I want to share with you first is a humanitarian step that the IDF is taking in order to minimize civilian casualties as this war unfolds. And I would like to read verbatim, word for word, the message that we sent, obviously in Arabic, to the local population in Gaza City, informing them of the need to evacuate from where they are for their own safety. This is the message. The IDF calls for the evacuation of all civilians from Gaza City. I'll zoom in a second. From Gaza City, from their homes southwards for their own safety and protection, and to move to the area south of Wadi Gaza, the river Gaza, as shown on the map. We distributed this with a map as well. And in order to understand what we're talking about, Gaza City, a major center, the biggest center of population in the Gaza Strip. If we zoom in a bit, here we have Gaza City, and more to the south, Gaza River. You can see it here, this path. That is the Gaza River, and what the statement is saying, that people...
Okay, the blue line was farther north than I thought. That doesn't change the math. It's still like 1 million people being moved. Okay, so they have like 1 or 2 more miles of space. It doesn't change anything that I said. Just mild technical detail.
People living in Gaza for their own safety should move south of this river. A river being something clear and understandable for everybody, whether or not they have a map or no. I'll continue to...
Keep in mind that crossing a river means that you're limited to crossing bridges. Like, 1 million people, wounded, children, elderly, no water, no nothing, no medical supplies, moving across bridges.
The Hamas terrorist organization waged a war against the state of Israel, and Gaza City is an area where military operations are taking place. This evacuation is for your own safety. You will be able to return to Gaza City only when another announcement permitting it is made. Do not approach the area of the security fence with the state of Israel.
Vaush, the bridges across the river in Gaza are tiny rope bridges. Are you f***ing kidding me? What is the river called? I looked up Gaza River and I'm not seeing it. What is the river called? River in Gaza. Wadi Gaza? Is that? Yeah, Wadi Gaza. Okay. What is a wadi? What is a wadi? Arabic term referring to a river valley? Don't give me the Arabic term. If it's a river valley, say river valley. Wait, please tell me there are more and better bridges. There's no fucking way. What? How many bridge crossings are there across the valley? There have to be more. Google Maps. I hope you have detailed information on the Gaza Strip, because that's where we're going. Goodbye, Washington, my beloved. Bum ba da bum ba da bum ba da bum bum. Wow. Okay. Where's the... This? What? Where's the river valley? Because it's not a river, it's the valley. But so look at how dense this is. Try terrain map. Oh, hold on. We should be able to see it because there won't be any like cross streets. There'll just be a couple of crossings, right? Well, that's Gaza. It's directly under Al-Zara. Here, then it has to be here. This is the only place that makes sense because this is where there's suddenly a lack of directional crossings. Right here, see? That has to be a crossing. This has to be a crossing. This has to be a crossing. Okay. Yeah, there it is. Right here, see? This is it. Okay. That's a full road, clearly. That's a full road. That's a small road. Small road. Small road. Full road. Okay, okay. It's not just bridge crossings. Still, trying to move like 1 million people just across these small... Like, just so you guys understand how small these are, that's one car. Look, that's a car, as seen from satellite. So this is a car of width. And like 1 million people. These are not massive bridges, by the way. People are going to get trampled. Yeah, I bet you a lot of these bridges don't have very good railings on the side either. People might get shoved off the sides if they're trying to move across really quickly. How deep is the river? It's a river valley. If you fell off of this, you don't just like plunk in the river, you fall. Here's the big one. I assume this is the main crossing. Salah al-Din, is that the name of the road? Okay. I guess a lot of people will cross here. That's going to be the main crossing then, this one. That's the main one. And then there's a bunch of smaller ones. If that bridge even exists still. Yeah, it's also possible that these bridges have been damaged. I don't know how recent the satellite map is. It's possible that a bomb has struck them or keep in mind, it only takes like an accident with 1 or 2 cars or just any number of incidents to just block a bridge. Like, there's a reason why you can't evacuate people this quickly. Have we got Street View in the Gaza Strip? Honestly, probably. Why not? Nope. Sorry, guys. No Street View down here. That's how bad it is. You can get Street View in Turkmenistan, but not in the Gaza Strip. They're not letting a Google van down here. Maybe we can take a look at this bridge specifically. Salah al-Din bridge should give us... No, this is in Iraq. Kind of tough to get... Sorry, I can't see anything here. I don't know why. Here you go, Salah al-Din Road. Oh, it's D-I-N, not D-E-E-N. The main highway of the Gaza Strip. Okay. One of the oldest roads in the world. And now it's in the current state it's in. That's cool. The armies of ancient Egypt, Alexander the Great, the First Crusaders, and Napoleon Bonaparte all traveled on it. That's so cool, dude. I love having this, like, majestic part of human history be left in an open-air concentration camp to rot. That's so cool. Now the genocide of the Palestinian people get to be added to this road's many, many historic accomplishments.
Israel, which means telling the Gazans, do not go this way towards the security fence, do not approach the border, only go south. Again, out of a concern.
Keep in mind, again, it's not a border. It's legally not a border. They're not two separate countries. It's a concentration camp wall. It's not a border. If it was, by the way, if it was a border, have you ever heard of a country shooting people for getting close to the edge of their side of the border? Like a country having the authority to gun down people who are on the other side of their border?
For safety of non-combatants. I'll continue to read. Hamas terrorists are hiding in Gaza City, inside tunnels.
Yeah, East Germany, whatever. I know that it's happened before. It's not good when it happens.
Underneath houses and inside buildings populated with innocent Gazan civilians. Civilians of Gaza City, evacuate south for your own...
Oh, here's a population map of the Gaza. Thank you for whoever provided this. From 2000 to now, the population's like doubled. Look at all those people up in Gaza that'll have to flee across like 6 bridges in 24 hours with no water. It's like the main... The river valley is like right here-ish. Yeah, right around here. I don't think I could do that in 24 hours with no water. You fucking kidding me? I need water to live. Is there even enough housing for them on the other side? Do you think they just have 1 million spare homes down here? No. No, not even close. There's not even space on the streets for them. 1 million spare homes of Allah.
Safety and the safety of your families, and distance yourself from Hamas terrorists who are using you as human shields. And the last paragraph, in the following days, the IDF will continue to operate with significant force in Gaza City and will make extensive efforts to to avoid harming civilians.
I'm sure.
That's the message that we issued a few hours ago to Gazan civilians, and the aim here is to minimize the damage to civilians. There are significant combat operations.
So they have about 21 hours left before the hammer of God strikes them.
Ongoing, and we are preparing for future and the continuance of our combat operations, and out of an understanding that there are civilians here whom are not our enemy and we do not want to target them. We are asking them to evacuate so that we will be able to continue to strike military targets belonging to Hamas in the Gaza Strip.
Most hospitals and aid organizations are up north. They cannot move an entire hospital to the south. Oh, don't worry. The hospitals ran out of power, so it doesn't really matter. Powerless hospital to the north, no hospital to the south are both equally incapable of treating people.
That is the purpose, and I think that's an important update, relevant for you to be aware of. This is a first notice that we gave. We understand that this will take time. It's not an easy process, but we have issued this guidance, and the aim...
The George Washington Bridge linking Manhattan to New Jersey is one of the most heavily used bridges in the world, with daily traffic of between 275,000 and 300,000 vehicles. 1 million will be fine. Jesus. Wait, hold on. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good way of putting it in perspective. When people have cars, there it is, even using cars on a modern bridge, it's still like a third of the number of people who need to go south. The Great Washington Bridge gets clogged every day. Yeah. Are you saying if Gaza had appropriate public transit, this would be less hazardous? Yes. If Hamas had only built a robust underground subway network, what? The Gaza Strip is one of the most densely populated places on Earth. It could be an urbanist paradise if only they would invest in public transportation. Half joking.
Of the evacuation is simply to save lives. As you may have read in the media, this was communicated to UN authorities, first and foremost to UN authorities, and the IDF is in communications and liaison with UN authorities, transferring information to them. And
yeah, oh shit. This is why right-wingers don't support a 15-minute city. Look at that. We have a 15-minute city. It's called Gaza. And what's about to happen to them? Exactly. This is what our government would do to us in a 15-minute city as well. Keep us penned in an open-air concentration camp and invade if we misbehave.
Also listening to what the UN informs Israel about the humanitarian situation in Gaza. And as I've said many times during the last 7 days, the IDF remains fully committed to the law of international conflict.
Totally.
In sharp contrast to the enemies around us and to Hamas, which is in total disregard of anything related to values, norms, and definitely not the law.
Yeah, Hamas kills babies in the barbaric way by beheading them, as opposed to the civilized way of killing babies with indiscriminate airstrikes and cutting off their water and power. See, if only Hamas could join the rest of the world, if these barbaric Islamists just aren't capable of the sophistication and grace of the modern West, if only Hamas had killed Israelis with indiscriminate airstrikes, then everyone would be on their side. But those fools, they didn't even know.
Of armed conflict. The other things that are important for everyone to know, I think, are related to casualties. Unfortunately, the number of Israeli casualties has risen again to 1,300 Israeli civilians and soldiers, and more than 3,000 wounded. There is a massive national effort involving almost all of the security organizations and many of the ministries of the Israeli state, which is focused on taking the body...
YouTube chat just got raided by Lonerbox. What's up, Lonerbox? Lonerboxers? Boxers?
From the same communities that we spoke about yesterday, like, for instance, Kfar Aza, Be'eri, and Nahal Oz, and many other communities in the entire southern area, collecting...
Yeah, Sam, and it's incredibly to think about that if I was in the Gaza Strip, I would be older than between 80 and 85% of the people there. I would be in the top like, like 15% of age. Yeah, I'd be a village elder over there. Why is it so low? People don't live very long in the Gaza Strip. Also, they had a bunch of babies, because if you're poor and you have nothing to do, you
the bodies, bringing them to a center in Tel Aviv, identifying them, and then making sure that their next of kin, their loved ones, are able to take them and to provide them a final and respectable burial. That's ongoing. It is a tedious and long and very detailed process, taking lots of resources.
This is all for show, right? Yes, this is all for show. What he's doing right here is trying to establish an illusion of concern for civilian casualties. This guy, it's propaganda. This guy's job is to get people on board with their upcoming invasion and make it seem as though this is some like big protracted humanitarian effort. He's a monster. They're all monsters.
We have never ever in our history been forced to deal with such a situation, and
there's a reason it's in English. That is true. There is a reason this is in English.
It is ongoing. It will take days, and as we match and identify more and more of the Israeli bodies that are uncovered in the communities, we will have more information about missing persons and perhaps the whereabouts of people that we are still at this stage not aware of where they are, and clearly loved ones are looking for them, asking questions and demanding those answers, and we are working hard at providing those answers. Other than that,
do you think this will lead to more Israeli annexation of the Gaza Strip? Probably not. It might lead to occupation, but I don't see annexation as very likely. I think it's more likely that a massive number of Palestinians die as like a punishment, like they bring the whip down, and then they just sort of let the Gaza Strip rot, with like accompaniment of IDF soldiers in the interior to occasionally, like, I don't know, kill people for throwing rocks or whatever.
The Northern Front, which we have spoken about a few times, has been relatively stable over the last hours. We are on high alert on the north, as we have been over the last few days, with enhanced troops, vigilant, watching the actions of Hezbollah. And same thing could be said about the Golan Heights. So we spoke about Lebanon and the Golan Heights. As we begin the 7th day of this war against Hamas, I wish to emphasize what our aim is. Our aim is to take all of Hamas's military abilities and strip them away. At the end of this war, our intention is that Hamas will no longer have any ability to strike or harm or kill Israeli civilians. That is the purpose of what we're doing now inside the Gaza Strip. That is why the Israeli Air Force has been delivering significant amounts of ordnance, of bombs on the Gaza Strip. And that is what we will continue to do as this war unfolds, and as we will deal a decisive blow to Hamas for the horrible, heinous acts that they have done.
Cool. Thanks. This order apparently initially went out 5 hours ago. Okay, so that means the people of northern Gaza Strip, the people of Gaza, have 19 hours now. I doubt that it'll come down to the very hour. Like, it's not going to come down to the very second or whatever. Like, they're not going to invade the nanosecond 24 hours is up. They're probably going to give it a few days after. But saying you have 24 hours means that a lot of Palestinians are going to be fleeing for their lives as quickly as they can, and that's going to cause this. How are they going to get the alert? That's a great question. I don't really know. Yeah, 300,000 plus people have already been displaced. Is there word of movement now? Well, apparently Hamas is telling Palestinians not to move. Reposting this from earlier, it took after a decade, the Syrian refugee crisis. What we will see tomorrow will likely be the largest movement of human beings in a single day in all of human history. I don't know if it would be that big. There's probably been larger exoduses before. This is definitely some kind of record, but it would have to be in a more specific category. About 300,000 Israeli soldiers have amassed outside the border of the Gaza Strip. Cool. Israel Defense Forces International Spokesperson Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Conricus. Isn't that... Yeah, that's who we just listened to. On Wednesday, did not explicitly say Israel was preparing a ground assault on Gaza, but noted the trip. Oh yeah, we're not... I don't... Whether or not we're going to prepare a ground assault is ambiguous, we say as we line up 1/3 soldiers, tanks, armored vehicles, and artillery, and also order an evacuation. Saber rattling? Yeah, it's like Russia when they lined up on Ukraine's border. Oh, that's a really good comparison. We saw how small the Gaza Strip is. The number of IDF soldiers lined up outside the Gaza Strip is about the same amount of Russian soldiers who lined up outside of Ukraine prior to the invasion of Ukraine. That's how many people they have lined up there. And Ukraine is a massive country, and the Gaza Strip is like smaller than a city, and they have about the same number of soldiers lined up outside of it. Less Russians. The Russians had 250,000. Israel's 350,000. Yeah. So, like, even all of the Russians they had lined up to invade Ukraine, there are more IDF soldiers lined up outside the Gaza Strip, which is, again, about the size of one, like, large city. Smaller, even. Oh, maybe. Syrians flee besieged enclaves in largest single-day exodus. An estimated 42,000 civilians fled bombings. Oh, if 42,000 civilians is the largest single-day exodus, then yeah, they're about to break that record 20 times over. This is 1.1 million people. Yeah, Kararo, seriously. Will this be equivalent in scope as the Nakba? Larger and much faster. How many will die if none of them are able to leave in time? I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I can't literally predict the future. I just realized this might be the plan to kill off all the Palestinians to get them to flee in a panic before airstriking them. I don't think that's going to happen. I think what's probably going to happen is that they're going to take advantage of the fact that not everyone's going to be able to flee, and they're going to do a pogrom in Gaza. It's also very possible that a couple of accidental airstrikes with incredibly precise munitions that are basically like laser targeted could take out like a couple of points of key infrastructure, like bridges, while they head down, thereby like massively escalating the death toll. And they would do it saying like, oh, we saw like a Hamas pistol there or something. I don't know. Again, it's the IDF. They're monsters, they're demons, and they lie constantly. So there's really, it's like dealing with the Russians, honestly. Like, Netanyahu is a lot like Putin, and in terms of, like, their attitude towards human rights, the closest comparison we have to the IDF is the Russian military. Like, there's no reason to ever, like, assume anything in their favor. If they can do something evil, they will. It won't be easy for the IDF. Hamas is most assuredly prepared for this. I know Hamas has, like, tunnels, and I know they're ready for this, but I don't think there's, like, the most Hamas could do is kill, like, a tiny fraction of the IDF soldiers that are moving in. Occupation from the IDF might be really difficult, but like they have so many soldiers. I don't think they're going to be able to do very much at all. Would you put it past Hamas to blow the bridges themselves? No, I don't think it's in Hamas's interest to do that at all. Hamas does favor martyrdom, but I don't think they're going to like, oh yeah, Israel is bad, 1 billion Palestinians must die, the situation. They're taking a different bent to this. I'd be surprised if they did that. But I guess they could. I don't know. It's probably not. They're probably not going to. Do you think Israel will let people back into northern Gaza after? I don't know. This is fuck stability in the rest of the Middle East too. The real question is, what is Iran going to do? Because, like, this is pretty bad, man. Hezbollah is probably going to do something, but if Iran gets, like, really saber-rattly over it, it might lead to Israel taking, like, preparatory action. Israel has been looking for an excuse to strike Iran for a while anyway, because Iran has been developing nuclear capabilities, and Israel knows the second Iran has functioning nuclear weapons, they're no longer capable of bullying Iran the way they would be otherwise. I wonder if they would, like, look to try to, like, find an excuse for the preemptive strike. I don't think Iran would do anything direct, but they might saber rattle a lot. They've threatened. Would Israel win against Iran? It's so tiny. I don't think Israel would win in a war with Iran if they tried to invade Iran. Is the Israeli military capable of doing operations that far away? Iran isn't that far away from Israel. But again, no country can invade Iran, like, really. I don't think. Israel would have to use nukes, and they won't. So that's not even on the table. I doubt Israel would do anything, but they have been looking for an excuse to deal with Iran for a while now. Maybe I'm doomer, but if Iran secretly has nukes, no, they don't. Trust me, they don't. They don't. It takes... don't worry, they don't. Is it confirmed Israel has nukes? Yeah, we all know they have them. Iran doesn't have nukes. If Iran had nukes, they would say they have nukes. There's no point in having nukes. Like, the whole point of having nukes is to deter countries from invading you. Like, if they had nukes, they would say, we have acquired nuclear weapons. So they haven't, you know. They're trying to get their own nukes. They're building a uranium enrichment program, but that takes a lot of time, a lot of money. Enriching uranium is not easy. Getting uranium is easy. Uranium's everywhere. Go to Australia. You'll trip over this shit. Uranium is not, like, that rare. Uranium-235 is. So the enrichment process is... Iran has functional weapon designs. Well, yeah, that's the easy part, right? I mean, building a nuclear bomb, apart from the uranium part, isn't very complicated. It works the same as basically any other bomb, right? You can make a nuclear weapon, like, without the nuclear part, you can make all the other parts pretty easy. It's not too complicated. The thermonuclear stuff is, like, more complicated, but, like, functionally it's not that hard. The hard part is the enriched uranium. That's the hard part. You can just put uranium in a bucket on a string and spin it very fast. Yes, you wear the thickest rubber gloves you can find. You put the uranium in a bucket and you have a guy spin it on a rope really, really quick, like this, you know? And then you, like, reach and you grab the stuff that's, like, not towards the outside of it. You scrape off the dust at the top and you've got your uranium-235. If Israel can destroy Iraq's nuke program, they can destroy Iran's? No. Iran is much, 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 much harder to invade than Iraq. You can watch, like, Operation Desert Storm videos if you want, but invading Iraq is basically just driving a tank across a gigantic open, like, flat desert. Could Israel ground invade Lebanon if Hezbollah attacks? Yes. Yes. That's on the table. It's not likely, but it's on the table. In terms of, like, actual land grabs and invasion, Lebanon is on the table for Israel. If Hezbollah gives them, like, casus belli or whatever. This is an article about the time Israel nearly used nukes. Yeah, I know about this. Yeah, chemical weapons are on the table, not really nuclear weapons. I wouldn't worry about nukes. Syria, they already bombed them. They're not going to invade Syria. Is Israel trying to claim Syrian territory would be more trouble than it's worth. Also, keep in mind, Israel does try to maintain good relations with Russia because they're both led by evil dictators. So taking Syrian territory would anger Assad, and Assad is an ally of Putin's. So it's unlikely they would do that. Do you think Egypt could get involved? Nah, I don't think so. Egypt has saber rattled. They have threatened. I don't think they're going to follow through on it, though. Like, that would be pretty wild. How's the rest of the world reacting to this? A large amount of fervent anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, and very little sane discussion. Syria claims Israel attacked them today. I mean, yeah, they did. Whoa! They hit Damascus and Aleppo. Whoa, 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 whoa. Syria said Israeli forces launched simultaneous missile attacks on the airports in Damascus and Aleppo? Okay. In what he said was a bid to distract the world's attention from Israel's war with Hamas militants in Gaza? Huh? The Israeli military said it does not comment on such reports. You are beneath us. Israel has for years carried out strikes against what it has described as Iran-linked targets in Syria, including against the Aleppo and Damascus airports. I know Israel doesn't have a good relationship with Syria, but my impression was that they would probably try to hold off on... They bombed the airstrips to prevent a representative from Iran from landing. Huh. There are videos of the attack in the airport. Guys, stop, man. I'm gonna ban everyone saying World War III. Stop. You are not getting drafted, white boy, okay? You fucking Midwestern, you Oklahoma living in motherfucker. Stop talking about World War III. Guys, I wonder if Israel might be engaging in what I would consider to be irrational foreign policy. The only reason I could see for doing that is if Iran was using it to send weapons. Well, it's pretty obvious that, like, there are Israeli officials who want to turn this into a conflict with Iran. Remember how initially there was very confident reporting that Iran had orchestrated this attack from Hamas, only for a bunch of journalists to sheepishly walk it back, even after politicians had repeated the misinformation? Iran is like the big regional enemy of Israel in terms of like relevant aggression, the big player in the area they don't like. So given that, they want to attribute it, they want to use it as like a broader excuse, kind of like how 9/11 had nothing to do with Iraq, but somehow it got tied back to Saddam Hussein. Thanks, Israeli Air Force, for targeting all of these Hamas installations. I'm sure Hamas occupied this entire block. Definitely. That too, that one too. All of those apartments and all the areas around them, too. Lovely to see how the consequence of us developing extremely precise, radio-guided munitions has been we just get, like, high-quality video footage of war crimes. It's like, this technology will allow us to precisely strike targets with minimal civilian casualties. And the Israeli Air Force is like, yeah, finally, now we can precisely strike the civilians and watch the casualties. Do you think there will be a whole new wave of hot IDF TikTok girls except for the genocide that's about to happen? The IDF does, like, unironically try to push support for Israel through e-girl power. How many times have you guys seen the, like, hi, I'm a hot girl in the IDF, hee hee, look at me and my, like, gear and my weapon and everything, haha, here's me doing a cute dance. Like, yeah, that shit's 100% a psyop. They're getting their cute girls together. They're doing hot girls doing the manosphere stuff lately. Oh, I can't wait to see, like, quirked up, big titty, 21-year-old IDF chicks, like, going on the roulette of dumb Western podcasts, where they're like, yeah, honestly, I do think that, like, it's really hard being a guy these days, and women have a lot of privilege, and they have their big tits out, and they're also like, hey, you know what you should do? And they try to get people to return and join the IDF. Oh, God, modernity. Oh, it's gonna happen, dude. I can't deal with modernity, man. I can't deal with 6 big titty IDF fucking murderesses going on Fresh and Fit and talking about how the way to, like, challenge woke culture is to join the IDF, where men are men and women are women. Oh, God. Fuck. Oh, wait. I forgot. Fresh and Fit are anti-Semitic. That's right. Okay, we're safe. We're safe, boys. The two retard waves have clashed against each other and nullified, you know? Wait, the only thing that can defeat IDF e-girl psyops is 40 IQ dumb being anti-Semites. It's like morally lucky on not liking the IDF agitprop or whatever. Like, the right outcome for the wrong reasons. Perfectly balanced. Yeah, the only way to defeat sheer retardation is through another equal and opposite form of sheer retardation. We're like entering like worst timeline possible stuff. I'm telling you, okay? The year is 2036, all right? Israel has like nuked their way through half of the Middle East. The only group willing and ready to stop them, America First and Nick Fuentes, his presidential candidacy championing peace in the Middle East by stopping Israel and keeping assuming that the future we run into is as cursed as possible, then this feels near inevitable, okay? This is the like shit timeline that we're all being flushed down into. And I'm voting twice. Yeah, I'm voting for the fucking gun in my mouth in that timeline. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I think I got the point across. I've already done a stream today. I just felt like I had to cover. The genocide is beginning. The forced evacuation of Gaza is impossible, and will be ruinous even before the ground invasion begins. And then the ground invasion will begin. I'll be here tomorrow, you know, but I need to eat food and sleep before then. So yeah,